Get ready with me while I tell you about the time my coworker attacked me. So I used to work in this factory kind of setting. It was a manual labor, so there is no surprise that most of the people working there were men. I think it was more than 80%. So this said coworker started, I think, 5 years after I started. So we had only worked together for a few months. And he was Vietnamese, and that doesn't matter except later on in the story. So he didn't speak much English, so we didn't really have like a common language, but we got along pretty well. And by the way, I'm using Eborian CC cream, my favorite. So I always put too much though. So yeah, we got along pretty well. And I thought he was like a nice guy. He was married and had a dog, which is important in this story. I look like a ghost. So I also have a dog, Felix. He is my first baby. And yeah, after working there for a few months, I think, a few months up to a year, I'm not sure, but not a long time. He was telling me that he is going to Vietnam with his wife and they need a place for his dog, or their dog. And obviously I love dogs, so I was like, hey, I can take care of her. You can bring it to me. He was a little bit like worried because the dog didn't get along with other dogs. So we decided that we are going to let the dogs get to know each other before he goes away, so we can see if they get along. He brought the dog to my place, and the dogs didn't really even notice each other. Felix is very curious, so he tried to get to know the other dog, but yeah, everything went well. But he thought that it would be smart to do it again. And I was like, sure, let's just do it again to be safe. And we did. And the next time he came, he was trying to be like really close to me. And I didn't feel very comfortable with that. But I didn't say anything. This is my mistake. So at one point I needed to push him away and say that, hey, you're married, but this is not okay. And he was like, yeah, I know, and sorry. And I think it was the very next day after that, we were talking at work, and I was like asking him if he's not happy to be married, or if there is anything troubling at home, because he was trying to make a move on me. And I couldn't really get an answer from him. I don't know if it was mainly because he didn't share a language, but on that day I stayed a little bit longer at work. I guess I wanted to have some things done before I left. So after work I went home, I took my dog, and we went for a walk, as we do every day. And when I got back to my apartment building, guess who was standing in front of my apartment door? It was him. And I was a little bit taken aback. I was like, hey, what are you doing here? And again, I couldn't really have an answer. So he was just insisting on going in. And I was like, no, you're not coming in. There's no way that you're coming in. And the downstairs floor, or the apartment door, was obviously locked, so he couldn't get in. But someone left the apartment building at that moment, and he just took my dog, a leash, from my hand and just ran inside with my dog. And at that point I was so annoyed, so annoyed. And he walked the stairs up to my door, my apartment door, and was just standing there. And then we started to argue a little bit. I was like, no, you're not coming in. I'm not gonna let you in. And then he was like, I'm so thirsty, I need water. And I'm like, yeah, you can go home and drink water. You're not coming in. I'm not letting you in. And because of the situation was stressful for me. My dog noticed that and started barking. And again, this is my mistake, but I just thought that I'm just gonna put the dog inside and then keep fighting in the hallway because the poor dog was so distressed. So I opened my door and he just barged in. Like, I couldn't react fast enough to stop him, and he just went inside the apartment. And I was like, at this point I was a little bit scared, but I thought, hey, this is a tiny guy. I can fight him if I have to. Wrong. Men are surprisingly strong. And that sucks. So we were in my apartment and I just, again, kept telling him to leave. Just go, like, please go. And he still kept insisting that he was thirsty. So I was like, okay, I will give you a glass of water and then you're gonna go. And he was like, okay. I gave him the water. He drank that. I took the glass away and once again told him to leave. And then he just put his hands on me and put them under my shirt, tried to put them in my pants. And at this point, I'm like, oh no, should I just let it happen? Or should I fight back? Or should I scream? Or what should I do? And I just kept telling him, no, 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 no. Like, no, please stop. And then the sweetest baby I have, Felix, my love, got so distressed about the situation that he just jumped at the guy with full force. And this is not an aggressive dog. He never does that. He loves everybody. But at that point, he just like barged. He didn't bite or anything. He just jumped like really forcefully against the guy and started making this weird noise. And that kind of diffused the situation. And I again forgot to put highlighter. And I was able to convince him to leave. Hey, my dog is like really, really scared right now, so can you please go? I can deal with my dog. And that made him to leave. But yeah, I was like, it's a weird thing when that happens. After it, you feel like did I do something wrong? Like, did I lead him on? Or probably in some ways, yes. But it was just such a scary situation. Like, and this, I think, happened like 2-3 years ago. While that situation was over, the next day I called in sick because I was like, I'm not gonna be able to face him right now and just work normally, and it's just not gonna happen. So I called in sick, and this was actually funny because on the day of the attack, me and my boss had a little bit of a fight because I guess I cannot remember what it was about, but he was just, I think we had a disagreement about something. And oh yeah, now I remember. We had a disagreement about because we had a lot of new people coming in and they wouldn't stay there. They would stay like a day or 2 or 1 week. And my boss had this idea that we should teach them every single part of the process one day at one spot. And I told him, like, that's not really effective because then they never learn anything like fully. They just know a little bit of something or a little bit of everything. So it would be wiser to keep them in the same spot for a week and then change. But yeah, we had an argument about that. But yeah, he's my boss, so we're gonna do what he says. So when I sent him a message that, hey, I'm sick, I'm not coming, he sent me like a message like, hey, I'm sorry about yesterday. Like I know it's frustrating that we keep getting these new people and we have to teach them and then they just quit. So I'm sorry. And I was like, no, that's not why I'm not coming. And then I actually ended up telling him what happened, but I didn't mention any names because I was still unsure what to do in that situation. But it's so weird to talk about this because I never thought I would share this Yeah, I didn't end up going to work, and the guy that had attacked me sent me a message like, hey, where are you? Why are you not at work? And I was like, yeah, I'm sick. I'm not coming. So when at one point I looked out from my window, and what did I see? His car was there again, and I was like, hell no. He was insisting on coming in, and I was like, no, I have stomach flu, like you cannot come in. And he just waited there for literally hours. And then I sent a message to my other coworker who knew about this situation. I sent a picture of his car and I was like, yeah, he's here. How can I make him leave? And then the other coworker came and went to the guy who was just sitting there in my apartment building's like yard or whatever it's called. And when he saw the other coworker, he was just like, oh, hey, hi, what are you doing here? And like there was nothing weird about the situation. So my other coworker, who is the nicest guy ever, told him basically to F off. And he did. And after that, he texted me and said he was sorry and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, do you understand how scary that is for a girl to not be able to say no, or say no and you're just not listening, and you have a wife? That's just so messed up. And after that, we never spoke again. And the sad part is, actually there's two sad parts. One of them was when the dog was in my house, he kept hitting it, like slapping it like this. So like really hard. And the dog was so scared and just really wonder he didn't or she didn't get along with anybody or other dogs or anything, because just that the way he treated the dog was just so horrible. And the other sad part is that when I told about this thing to a few people, like my dad, my boss, and my friend, and someone else, I think. I cannot remember. But yeah, most of them said that do not make this a police thing, because just one little mistake cannot ruin somebody's life. I listened to them and I did nothing about it, which sucks, because now I think about maybe what his wife has to go through every day, or if he does it to somebody else, and it just sucks. Sucks ass. And I should have done something, but I didn't. So that was the story of my coworker attacking me. And to be honest, I have so much stories about that same job. I'm not sure if you're interested of hearing them, but it was a pretty messed up place to be working in. So let me know in the comments if you would like to hear more stories. This is, I think, the craziest story, so keep that in mind. But yeah. So there was a lot of stuff going on. Not for everybody, I think, for me mostly. But yeah. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. And stay safe.